A lot of things going on at the same time. You had the German government selling some Bitcoin. You have the Mt. Gox bankruptcy, which has been a 10-year drawn-out affair, is now going to be releasing about 140,000 Bitcoins. And so you have a combination of these things going on at the same time that there's been some selling pressure in the ETF. We still love the fundamentals of Bitcoin long-term.
About 80% of those flows now, after people have analyzed it, appear to be retail, not actual institutions going in yet. And so I've talked to a lot of folks who run RIAs or large institutions, and it takes a while for them to go through their investment process, underwrite the risks, approve, and then allocate. And so my expectation is kind of the second half of this year, maybe end of Q3, beginning of Q4, we'll start to see a lot more of the institutional flows into those ETFs. When we get into September and beyond, I think that's just enough to get the price going back up.
The cryptocurrency market has faced several days of uncertainty, as reflected by the generally low sentiment among investors. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index, which measures market sentiment, has slipped into fear levels for the first time since October 2023. Concerns are mounting that significant improvements may not occur anytime soon. On-chain data reveals that the German Federal Criminal Police Office has been moving thousands of Bitcoin from its official wallets since June 19, 2024. Earlier this week, reports indicated that the German government transferred over $220 million worth of Bitcoin to various exchanges and OTC desks. In the past 24 hours alone, another 9,736 Bitcoin, valued at approximately $564.3 million, has been moved. These transfers are expected to continue until the wallets are depleted. Since mid-June, the German government has sold a total of 34,749 Bitcoin, worth around $22.01 billion at current prices. New reports suggest the government's Bitcoin reserves could be completely depleted before the end of the week. There are also uncertainties regarding other factors, such as the Mt. Gox asset redistribution and the macroeconomic environment. In recent interviews with CNBC, Skybridge Capital founder and former White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci, along with popular Bitcoin enthusiast and YouTuber Anthony Pompliano, shared their perspectives on the current crypto market situation and the future of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in 2024 and beyond. They also discussed ETFs, the regulatory environment, and the implications of the upcoming U.S. presidential election for the crypto market.
Stop. You don't have time. Don't miss out this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself first ahead of the crowd. We have created the ultimate step-by-step crypto cheat guide that will guide you this bull run. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Now by clicking on the link below to get your exclusive copy just under $10.
A lot of things going on at the same time. You had the German government selling some Bitcoin. You have the Mt. Gox bankruptcy, which has been a 10-year drawn-out affair, is now going to be releasing about 140,000 Bitcoins. And so Skybridge, alongside a Fortress, participated in that. And so you have a combination of these things going on at the same time that there's been some selling pressure in the ETF. And so when that happens, Bitcoin is a volatile asset. You also had a halving, not to get into the Bitcoin jargon with you, but
I think our viewers are well versed on that.
Okay, so every time you have a halving, a result of which it forces the miners to sell some Bitcoin to keep up their revenues, which puts temporary pressure on Bitcoin, but we still love the fundamentals of Bitcoin long term. And I do think, as I said, it'll be 170,000 post-halving, but I think it can get to 100,000 by year end, but it has to chug through this slog right now. One last quick point.
Sure.
FTX is going to be releasing shortly $16 billion roughly of cash to investors that had their accounts at FTX. And so that's very good news for Bitcoin holders, I believe, because a lot of that was in Bitcoin. It got frozen in the bankruptcy. It got dollarized, unfortunately, at low numbers for Bitcoin. But it's going to go back to those account holders shortly, and we think a lot of that may flow into the assets. We call these things life chips. You know, if you get a windfall back like that, you're counting on not getting that money back. Now that you're getting it, you may buy a car, you may buy a house, you may buy a summer house. But I do think 40 to 50% of that will go back into the asset class. I mean, these are hardcore people. Remember, they're early adopters too. If you had an account at FTX, or you have an account at Coinbase, you're considered to be an early adopter in the digital asset space. And so early adopters, have typical loyalty to the asset class. I'll take you back to the situation, the early days of Uber. No government wanted Uber, no administrator wanted Uber, no mayor wanted Uber. All the regulators said no to Uber, but the people wanted Uber. And one thing that just happened today in the GOP platform, they're going to have their convention next week. Right there, glaringly in the GOP platform, is the protection of digital assets and the protection specifically of Bitcoin. So I think that's a huge mistake by the Democrats. I feel like they're fumbling the football on digital assets. It's not a niche business anymore. Okay, you could go by the Mike Novogratz discussion where he thinks there's 85 million wallets. I think Coinbase put out something like 50 million wallets. Let's cut those down. Let's say there's only 20 million wallets of eligible voters in the United States, and let's say 10% of them are single-issue voters. You've got 2 million potential voters in a very close, very narrow election being resolved by 6 or 7 swing states that could be single-issue digital asset voters. So to me, I think it's overwhelming conclusion that this will be an acceptable long-term asset class in the United States. And if that's the case, I'm not worried about the other sovereigns.
Here's what's going to happen leading up to the election. What do you think? What do you hear? What's the story?
Oh, listen, I mean, I think President Biden is obviously dug in, had a poor debate performance, but it appears like he is going to be the nominee. The swing state voting right now has former President Trump in the lead. I'm a markets guy. I know you're a markets guy. The poly markets are favoring Donald Trump right now. But these things are close elections, and there's a lot to be decided right now. You have the VP process, which will come up this week. You've got another debate on September the 10th. If President Biden is staying in the race, I think he really has to demonstrate what he's been trying to do over the last couple of days. He was on Morning Joe this morning, our sister network, and he's very articulate on Morning Joe. But he's having problems putting sentences together, and I think that has to worry people. And so we'll see how all that unfolds. I think they'll have to make a decision one way or another by the end of this week.
Anthony Scaramucci, a strong supporter of Joe Biden and an even stronger critic of Donald Trump, believes that cryptocurrency could play a significant role in determining the outcome of the November elections. He argues that Democrats are making a huge mistake by maintaining their anti-crypto stance, especially when many American crypto investors have expressed a preference for pro-crypto representatives who will protect their interests. Like Shark Tank billionaire investor Mark Cuban, Scaramucci sees this as a crucial issue that could swing votes in favor of Trump and the Republicans. In another CNBC interview, crypto enthusiast and popular YouTuber Anthony Pompliano also shared his views on the current market situation, U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs, the regulatory environment,